In today's video, I'm giving away for free the absolute best program to add lean muscle when it comes to putting on size in every single body part, building up your physique, and doing so in a manner that allows you to optimize every aspect of your training. We're starting right now. Hey guys, in today's video, I've just started our 90-day transformation challenge here at Pro Physique. Now, there is still time to sign up, but for most of you that are already in here, I thought I would highlight my goals for this transformation challenge. Now, typically I'm trying to get shredded like this, right? When I diet down. However, right now, my goals are to stay lean while I put on a lot of muscle. And to do that, I've been using this training program off and on for the last few years. And this is my absolute training program. It's going to combine a few different styles of training and a frequency of training that I just find to be just fantastic. So let's talk about the name of the program. It's going to give away a lot of the secrets. It's called Push-Pull Legs Power Hypertrophy, but I got a few surprises in there, right? What is push-pull legs? Very, very common training program where we do a day of pushing. Now, just so everyone knows, there are no muscles in the body that push. Bet you didn't know that. However, when we are talking about push exercises, it's where we're basically pushing the weight away from our body, okay? So even though we're pushing the weight away, the muscles that we're pushing with are actually contracting. So we're talking about things like bench press. We're talking about things like shoulder press. So we're talking about the chest, the shoulders, and the triceps for the most part when we're talking about our push day. Now, pull day is when we're pulling things towards us, hence the name pull. Usually on pull day, we're talking mostly about the back. Might also get a little bit of traps in there. Also, the biceps get a little bit of involvement. Then we move on to a lower body day where we're doing kind of some quad, hamstring, glute development, maybe some calves in there too. But within that framework, we can also talk about why training twice a week is so valuable for me. So let's talk about this. I'm a 48-year-old lifetime natural bodybuilder. I got my pro card in 2009. I've been training athletes for more than a decade. And this is one of my favorite training styles because it combines two elements, okay? It combines lifting heavy, and we can talk about the science of lifting heavy and why that is slightly different than lifting at higher reps, while they're both valuable for building muscle. So the idea is that you're going to combine those two. While I'm training muscles twice a week, I'm training them kind of in different rep ranges, which allows me to be strong, recover, and progress significantly throughout this. And the first time I did this program back in 2007, 2008, I was blown away at the results. So that power hypertrophy style of training is combined with a schedule that I really love. So the program is actually push-pull legs, then a full rest day because I'm beat up after that. Then a chest and back combination day, then a legs and arms combination day, and we'll dig into that. So we'll scroll through here a little bit to show you. So what I like to do when I'm doing this program is I like to focus on a few key movements. So when you think of exercises as skills, which not many people do, but if you think of the skill of, say, hitting a baseball, hitting a golf ball, maybe, serving a volleyball, skills that you have to practice, shooting a basketball, right? These are skills that you practice and you do lots of repetitions with them to get good at them. A lot of people don't think of weightlifting as a skill, but I promise you, the muscles have to learn how to fire in a manner that allows you to be efficient. So when you do an exercise more than one time a week, you get more efficient at it. You get stronger at it. You don't necessarily even have to add more muscle to get stronger, okay? Just because you become more efficient, your muscles fire more efficiently. So I like to combine my key movements that I'm trying to get stronger at twice a week. So in the program here, what I'm starting with is dumbbell incline bench. Now, the reason I like starting with an incline movement is because upper pecs for many of us are weaker. And so I like to start with a little bit weaker of an area. So the upper chest for me is that. The reason I love the dumbbell incline bench press, listen, I'm a tall 6'3" guy, but I've gotten very strong pressing over the years. And I think my personal record for dumbbell incline pressing, I've done somewhere in the neighborhood of 130 to 135 for sets of 6 or 8, right? So I've been fairly strong at this lift. Not there right now, but kind of that's my goal right now. I want to get back to pushing some heavy weight. And so what I'm starting with in this program is you'll see week 1, the volume might be a little bit low. 3 sets of 5 does not sound like a lot, but here's the nice thing. You're going to warm up to that. So for me, if I'm going to do, say, 3 sets of 5 at, say, 90 pounds, I'm going to do a set at 40, a set at 55, a set at 65. For, somewhere between 8 to 10 reps, I'll drop it down. And as I get closer to my working set, I'll lower the reps. So the thing I love about lifting heavy is that the workouts are also pretty intense, but pretty short, right? So 3 sets of 5, I'm gonna be moving on quickly to my bench press. There, I'm gonna do a couple sets of 8. And my machine fly, I'm gonna do a couple sets of 10. I'm already through the big portion of my push day, right? So I'm gonna show you guys how that looks on the screen here, and you can follow along. And if you guys are interested, comment below. I'll make this a free download somehow. If you are in our Transformation Challenge group, I'm gonna put this in there today. So if you signed up for that, it's $50. If you haven't, you can still register, but I'm gonna put that in there today. So as you can see on push day, it's kind of lower reps, right? The idea for here is not to be completely exhausted by the time you're done, it's to be strong and feel powerful. And you'll see on the side there, I put how many total sets. So I like to manage my clients' kind of volume and stress through tracking sets. And sometimes I'll get into tracking their weights, so we're tracking total volume, but really for bodybuilding purposes, I like to track work sets, right? So we make sure we're not in the gym for too long, we're not so fatigued, we make sure we can recover, and we can make sure that we're progressing correctly. If you haven't worked out in months and you do 20 sets on push day, you're gonna be dead meat. Your first time through, maybe it's 12 sets, right? Don't try to go in the first time and just murder yourself. Let the body recover, okay? It's called maximum recoverable volume that your body's adapted to. So that's gonna progress over time. Progressive overload, right? There's many ways to do that. It's not just weight, it can be sets. So then I go into my pull day. For whatever reason, I'm 48. I like starting with pull-ups. Assisted pull-ups, it gets a lot of blood in my shoulders and my back, right? So I feel good with that. The real heavy movement for me, you'll see here on this day, is my second movement, my seated low row. Some people call it a Yates row. It's a really heavy low row, and if you're doing it properly, you're really engaging the back, and you can go quite heavy on these, and I love the hammer strength version. So that's going to be my key movement. My philosophy on back training is usually to alternate grips and plane of movement, right? So I'm going to start with something that's a little bit wide in a vertical position, and then I'm going to go something narrow in a seated position or horizontal, right? And then I'm going to kind of go back and forth, and then I might go something narrow in a vertical position. You get the idea. But the idea is you want to change the grips, overhand, underhand. You want to change neutral grips. You want to change angles. The back muscles, probably the most dynamic muscles of the human body. There's so many muscles back there, all working in tandem. You want to get them all to grow to really give you that big, nice back. So there, push pull day. Now we get into legs. Legs is basic. Now the reason I start with my deficit step back lunge, again, biomechanically speaking, that is a movement that just causes me zero pain, and I can get heavy on that. So I like going heavy on that first. It also loosens up my glutes, my hamstrings, my hips, my knees. And then by the time I go into my 45-degree hyperextensions, I feel really good. Now my whole lower body is warmed up for a big prime mover like a hack squat. I love a hack squat, especially if I find a good machine that I can really use. Then I'm gonna do some deadlifts. Now, as you see here, 3 sets, 2 sets. Week 1, I'm just trying to get some motion, get the muscles working, but you'll see as the weeks progress, I'll be adding some sets in here. And this is, I included this as a 4-week program. So then we're just doing our full leg day, right? All the movements, including some calf stuff. And then we're gonna have a nice day off. Now you can set up the day off wherever you want. On this week, I had push, pull, rest legs, but this week, right now, as in this week, I've actually done push, pull legs, and then I'm gonna take a rest day and do chest and back. But the chest and back is something that I've always enjoyed. Arnold used to talk about kind of how they're accessory movements because your back muscles can actually help you feel stronger in your pressing movements, which I've noticed, like when I have a lot of good pump in my back, my pressing feels more stable. It makes sense. So a chest and a back day for me, those are the two probably the biggest muscle groups that I, in my mind, want to be the biggest, right? I want a chest like Arnold, I want a back like Dorian, but I like doing these body parts together. The reason being is you can do a really good back movement and then go to a chest movement and they don't impair each other, right? So you're strong all the way through this workout. Now, if you notice, I'm still keeping the sets around 3 just because I'm building up my volume, but the reps are up between 10 and 15, right? Instead of between 5 and 10, right? So we're talking about a little bit more in that hypertrophy range of training. Now, typically in a hypertrophy range of training, you're gonna get a little more soreness or DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, at least initially. But that's just also because you are getting a little bit more fatigue. You are getting a little more total training volume. I love this day. This chest and back day is a fun day. You just go back and forth, hammer the chest, hammer the back. Then I finished with an arms and legs day. If you noticed, even on my push and pull days, I don't have a ton of arm work. That's because I like to do some like dedicated arm sets. And I mix it in with my legs because I have to hit my legs twice a week for the legs to even see some progress. But on this day, you'll see I did some fun things like 20 rep sets of hack squats. Now again, there's going to be no impressive weights on the thing here, at least initially, when you're doing 3 sets of 20. Sometimes it's just the sled. I don't care if it's 10. I don't care if it's body weight. The point is to build up some endurance so in the weeks ahead, we can be adding weight. You know, you're going to find that you adapt to this program pretty well. And then it's time for a rest day, right? So we're training 5 days. We're taking 2 rest days. You can break up the rest days any way you want. 2 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off, however you prefer, whatever fits for your schedule. I don't usually suggest 5 in a row and then 2 days off. It's just a lot, especially at the beginning. But if that's what works best for your schedule, so be it. Last week, I actually did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, took off Thursday and Friday, trained Saturday and Sunday. Why? Well, I coach my son's Little League football team, and I had to be there for some events. So, you know, I adapted my schedule based on that. But I prefer to do 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, and repeat. And as you notice in this program, if you scroll through, which again, I start to pick up the volume a little bit by adding a set, you know, to the first exercise. So really, instead of doing like, say, 3 sets of 5, then I'm going to move up to 4 sets of 5. And then as the weeks progress, I may get up to 5 sets of 5. But then by that time, what I'm probably looking at doing is maybe adding another set to that second exercise. So training volume is going to tick forward across the weeks. The real goal for me is by the end of the 4 weeks, I want to be stronger than I was at the beginning. Because the real fun is, let's say at the beginning of the program, I was doing on my dumbbell incline press, I was doing 3 sets of 5 with 80 pounds, right? But by week 4, now I'm doing 4 sets of 5 with 90 pounds. Well, guess what? If I go back to the beginning of this program, start it all over, I can do 3 sets of 5 with 90 pounds. I've got 1 less set, a little more effort, right? So you can see how this progresses over time. You do this through a couple times and notice your ability to get a little bit stronger. Your recovery is going to improve, and you can really just pay attention to a few key things, making sure your recovery is good. Now, obviously, we got to focus on our diet. You know, we need to be getting enough protein. You know, you need to be taking in your supplements. I've got my vegan protein right here on my desk, so I don't miss that. But you got to be taking care of the nutrition side of it. That goes without saying. But this program is a pretty full-on bodybuilder style program, guys. I am a bodybuilder. I love lifting. And I got to be honest, when I started this program a couple weeks ago, I started probably even at 2 sets, you know, because I was just coming off a really bad cold. I don't know if you guys have gotten sick, but I've definitely gotten sick recently. It was in December, not so bad now, but it was almost like a good chance for me to pull back and start from scratch. So yeah, I went into the gym a couple times and just did 2 sets of each exercise. Now I'm up to 3, might be doing a 4th for some of these movements as you see in here. But the real fun for me is yesterday I went in and I felt the strongest I felt, and it's already starting to happen. Now I've been doing this for the better part of 30 years, lifting weights. I've been a competitive bodybuilder for the better part of, 12 years now. So, you know, I've worked with some amazing coaches. I've gone back to school to study exercise science and training program design. And so I've got a lot of knowledge in this area, and I combine a lot of the knowledge that I get along with my biofeedback, what feels good for me, what I've seen work with my athletes. This is hands down my favorite training program. So really, hopefully, if you guys are interested, if you're not in the Transformation Challenge group where I'm going to put it today, you just leave a comment and I'll figure out a way to make a free download somewhere. Maybe you guys can just click a link. But hopefully you guys enjoy this. Not going to do any progress or update photos for this week's update. I just wanted to give you the strength building program that I'm using for this 90-day challenge to bring my physique to that next level. All right, guys, talk to you tomorrow.